This country basically invented modern steelmaking. It were the breakthroughs of Benjamin Huntsman back in the 1740s in Sheffield that laid the foundations for the modern steel industry. Yesterday, we got news that this country may be about to lose the ability to make virgin steel when we heard that British Steel, operator of the last blast furnaces in these islands, has rejected the government's offer of help to keep the plant alive. This is how the news was broken to Parliament by Steel Minister Sarah Jones in front of our committee yesterday.
We made an offer to British Steel on Monday and they have rejected that offer, and we are still in talks with them at the moment.
Those talks are ongoing then?
Yes.
Okay, and again, no clue on... You don't have a deadline on that, you're not putting a guillotine on it, it's open-ended, is it?
We don't have a deadline on it, no.
Okay.
No.
And then how feasible is it to keep the blast furnaces going in the interim period? I mean, I know it's not easy, and if you shut them down, then it's very difficult to restart. Are they likely to keep going?
Our preference would be for the blast furnaces to keep going until, at the least, there is. They have secured the steel to come into the country to keep all of the mills going. So in Port Talbot, the blast furnaces closed, but there is steel coming in that can keep everything else operating. So our preference would be that steel was secured before they would close the blast furnaces.
Okay, but the door is still open. You're still talking to British Steel.
We are still very much talking to British Steel every day. Yes.
Thank you.
Now, steelmakers have had a hard time for a long time, but the advent of new tariffs from the United States have just made things a hell of a lot harder. It's not just the lost sales in America, it's the risk of Chinese steel being diverted from America into the UK. Europe has just put up new safeguards. America, of course, has its tariffs, but we don't have our defences yet ready. And that's what we heard steelmakers tell our committee needed to be acted on as fast as possible.
As we see the European Union take action, we would like to see the UK government take similar action to ensure that any steel that was destined for the US that could now be diverted into other open markets, that we take measures to protect that potential diversion.
Do you think that the bigger damage will be done through diverted steel coming into the UK?
That's our biggest concern at the moment, yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, have you got a sense of how bad the impact is going to be on sales, let's say in the next 12 months? Have you got a sense of how big the damage will be, both to sales and profits?
Yes, it's going to be significant, Chair.
It's going to be significant.
It's going to be significant. Besides the impact of the large volumes that our customers, some of our customers are looking to book out of geographies that are now diverting steel that was potentially destined to the US.
I see.
It's going to be a huge impact, both in terms of the overall business, in terms of the top line, and it's also a massive impact in terms of the profitability of the business, which is far more damaging than just the volume loss.
Yeah. So you must be quite angry about this?
Disappointed. I think we would kind of suggest that we're disappointed with the approach that's been taken.
So how do you think the UK government should react? I mean, do you think the government has reacted well? Has it been too slow? Would you have preferred them to have avoided this in the first place?
I guess we see the efforts from the department to try and get exemptions for the UK into the US market. So I think that's positive action that we're seeing. In terms of the response on potential for diversion, I think absolutely we would like to see swift action being taken, and we're seeing that swifter action, I would describe it, being taken across the EU to review existing safeguarding measures and look at opportunities to tighten those safeguarding measures to protect the European Union from those potential diversions that we've talked about. So absolutely we would like to see the government move faster on reviewing at least the existing safeguarding measures that are in place for the UK.
What's your confidence in the Trade Remedy Authority moving at the right speed and producing the right answer?
I've got to say, and I think we're always going to say, that we would prefer things to move faster. So absolutely we would like to see kind of pace increase.
Do you think we should be slapping retaliatory tariffs on United States product?
Well, I'm not sure that's a way to go, because I think, as we've been talking, it's more to do with the impact of the diversions that is happening into the country that we need to take care of, because the UK steel industry over a period of time has declined to a very small value. So we're not a big steel consuming country. So we've got to act in a manner in which we protect and safeguard the industry in a way in which the incumbent players can continue to do business, and also the customers get a fair deal at the end of it all.
So it's really clear that we now need a very big and very long-term plan for our steelmakers. That's got to take on board the need to drive down energy costs. We've got to be using government procurement, e.g. the new defence budget that has just been put on the table, to drive demand for British steel. We need to make sure that we're keeping the scrap that we currently export actually here so that it can fuel the new electric arc furnaces. The plan that we need was very eloquently set out by Community Union in front of our committee, and that's at the core of the plan that we'll now be pressing ministers for.
Well, I think as an overarching priority, speed is what we need. We've had consultation after consultation for many years over successive governments, and as I said before, the priorities for the industry are the same now as they were in 2015 when the Steel Council was first set up following the collapse of SSI. So we need action on procurement, we need action on trade, we need action on energy costs, we need support for low carbon investment, we need a CBAM, we need all of these things, and we needed them 10 years ago. So we just need to get on with it now before it becomes too late.